Kaiju number 8 is amazing. Although the show isn't exactly transcending level, it is still a fun watch. It is non-stop action. This show likes to move from what you would think to be a big fight to an even bigger fight almost instantly. There's not really that much downtime. And the fights are pretty intense. We got a kaiju throwing out a 360 punch and a strong ass unk with an even stronger hairline fisting kaijus to oblivion. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm here to share it. So this kicks off with a kaiju going for a quick swim, trying to improve its VO2 max and accidentally ends up in the city. So the people saw this, instantly blasted with some missiles. And a kaiju attack clearly happens on the regular because these guys saw the news and went, wow. That is a hot cup of coffee. And not long after, we get some sick ass entrance scene. The girl front flips down from the helicopter, and with the way she lands and the music in the background, you can just tell the kaiju is not the monster here. Personally, if I'm the kaiju, I hear that music and I am getting the fuck out of there. I'm swimming all the way to the Atlantic. Then everyone else starts moving in, and these guys are out here moving like they got the ODM gear on, except it's even better. This shit's like the ODM gear on steroids and a pinch of crack. They don't even need strings, they just start flying. Then the girl whips out her giant cannon and just straight up one-shots it. Cleanup crew in shambles. And speaking of cleanup crew, if you thought a protagonist was one of those cool looking dudes running around backflipping, blasting kaijus, then you might want to take a seat, because this is our protagonist. No Kafka, a guy who's part of the cleanup crew, and he's surprisingly a full-grown 30-year-old hairy-ass man, which is really rare, because most of these shonen protagonists are usually high schoolers. I don't know why that is, but they just are. So it's definitely a rare pull. Legendary almost. Anyway, after dissecting kaiju's shit as a part of his job, Kafka comes home to a stinky room that reeks of cum, cigarettes, alcohol, and mostly failure. Because he saw Captain Ashuro Mina blow up that kaiju earlier on the news, and that is something that he's always wanted to do as a kid. Kill some kaijus. But fast forward 2 decades and it's not killing shit aside from his lungs. So Kafka goes to work the next day and he meets the new guy, Reno, and that guy's trying to join the defense force. Kafka cleans shit again, he just keeps dealing with shit all the time, but at least this time he's doing it with Reno. So after they're done cleaning, Reno comes over and thanks him for helping him get through all the shit today, but suddenly a smaller kaiju emerges from the ground about to eat Reno. However, Kafka's wallet is in disguise. That guy moves faster than the speed of light, so he quickly jumps in, saves Reno from the kaiju's mouth. Light work. So Kafka uses himself as a sacrificial pawn and lets Reno escape and find help while he tries to outrun the kaiju. Then we learn that Kafka and Mina actually know each other as a kid and they made a promise to kill kaijus together when they grow up because their town got ass banged by one. So remembering this, Kafka said, I'm done running, and he came up with the brilliant idea to beat it to death with a fucking stick. A stick about the size of the monster's toothpick. Yeah, no, not exactly his smartest moment, and it did not end well. Yep, it ended exactly like how most people would imagine it. But just as the kaiju's about to close its mouth, Reno comes in with the save and smacks it away. This is edging masterclass. The kaiju really thought it's about to come in here and get a free meal. Nope, baited his ass. But luckily, help arrived in time to save the two, and it's none other than Mina. So Kafka ends up in the hospital because his leg got fully squashed. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know how his leg still has the shape of a leg. I thought that shit would just turn to complete slime, but it's still here. Then suddenly a kaiju appears in front of Kafka. And as he tries to scream for help, the kaiju just instantly deep throats him. I'm talking full on demolishing his throat. Senpai! Kaiju number 8. And just look at the kaiju he turned into. You just know he's OP. Cause look how cool he is compared to the fucked up horse human spider hybrid shit he just fought. That guy's ugly as shit. But yeah, so the first thing he does after turning into a kaiju is make an old man piss himself, put him in cardiac arrest. Then the defense force gets informed about a kaiju in the hospital, so Kafka makes a run for it. And just as he's about to escape, he senses another one of those ugly looking kaijus around the area. Then we see a daughter and a mother about to be eaten by a kaiju. But once again, right before it could close its mouth, Kafka comes to the rescue and fists it to Narnia. Now this kind of kaiju should just get a jaw replacement. Cause what do you mean it takes them 4 to 5 business days to close their damn mouths? Now don't get me wrong, I don't want the little girl to be eaten up like some nightmarish bloody gummy bear, but it's ridiculous how long they take to close their mouths. So Kafka saves the girl's mother and Reno also comes in to help. However, the kaiju's not dead, so Kafka tells them to run away and he'll try to hit it with his full power. Reno damn near shat himself hearing this. Full power? I still gotta carry a mother and a kid out of the impact zone. What the fuck do you mean full power? We haven't even started moving. Then the kaiju comes at him and once again, it opens up its mouth. So he sidesteps and fisted it with his right hand so hard it's almost like Zeus came down and fucked its butt and it exploded. So the little girl thanks him, and this reignited his will to join the defense force and fulfill the promise he made with Mina. So the team arrives at the crime scene to this massive mess, and Kafka and Reno made their escape, ran all the way back to the hospital, act like nothing happened. And the little girl put in some good words for Kafka. She goes, "Don't hurt the good kaiju, he's a good guy, he saved us." So props to her, amazing. So 3 months have passed, and Kafka is still alive. They haven't caught him, the government hasn't locked him up in some weird basement and start pulling his toenails. He's still here, they haven't found him. And they decided to give him the code name Kaiju No. 8. Anyway, so Reno gets a physical notification saying he passed the first round, and there's also one for Kafka, so he passed it over to him, and he also made it, he passed. Damn, that's pretty cool. What, that's it? No creaming your pants and doing a couple backflips? Well, no, I mean, this is the easy part. It's usually the second half where I break down in tears. So 10 days later, they pull up to the selection test and a girl comes over to Kafka and asks for his parking spot because she can't park her car.
Eh?
Kafka's brain short-circuited. He couldn't believe what his ears had just heard. So Kafka's like, "But there's a bunch of other empty spaces. What do you mean you can't park your car?" "Yeah, I know, but this is my lucky number, 55. "Okay, that's awesome. How about you 55 the fuck off?" That doesn't make any sense. Point is, I'm not moving. Fuck you. Fuck me. Alright then, fuck your car. So they begin their first test, and this one just mainly focuses on their physical stats. And Ankh is in absolute shambles. I mean, he is 32 years old after all, basically a dinosaur. He's as old as Stone, so he came in at number 219th out of 225. GG, Ankh's not making it. Then we get to meet the other applicants. So we got this guy, who came in second, so it's pretty good. And we got this guy, who came in third. Obviously, the right guy is not him. We're talking about the guy on the left, the colorful hair guy. Colorful hair is always better in anime, of course. And we also got this guy, who came in first, Aoi. And we also got these guys who came in from top universities and college, so they're pretty good, but clearly not good enough because we don't even got their names, and this guy looks like he's got a maid outfit on, so obviously he'll find a way to somehow lose to our boy Kafka, who plays 219th. And of course, we can't forget about her, Kikoru Shinomiya. She's one of the main characters, and she's very hyped up. A lot of people call her the greatest talent to ever exist, so she's hyped up to be the Ronaldo of killing kaijus. Now for the second test, they'll be killing kaijus, so they all put on their combat suits, and this suit basically amps up their physical stats. And depending on how skilled you are as a person, that's how much power you can unleash with this suit. So Reno's at like 8%, this guy's on 18, 15, 12, and usually above 10 is already pretty crazy for a guy who's starting out. Then there's Kikoru, who's smurfing at 46%. Damn, I'm only at 8%. Hey, 8% is pretty solid. I mean, as long as you're not sitting on 0, you passed. Well, I mean, I don't even think it's humanly possible to achieve 0%. Hold my ballsack. They said it could never be done. They pointed fingers and laughed at him. They spat on him. They cast him out. They mocked him. They doubted him. But against all odds, Kafka defies them all. Look in my eyes, tell me your tale. Do you see the road? I'm out to my soul. Truly a pioneer. Alright, so the final test begins. They have to kill 1 Honju and 36 Yojus that are on the battlefield. Yeah, apparently not all of them are called kaijus. I'm assuming Honju is a tier below kaiju and Yoju are the bots. Yeah, no, I made that shit up. So all of them are kaijus. I don't know exactly what I was smoking to think some of them wouldn't be called kaijus, but yeah, all of them are kaijus, but they're just separated into 3 different categories. So we got Yoju, the bots, Honju, the mini bosses, and we got Daikaiju, the big bosses. And of course, they got guns. So Kikoru, who sits at 46%, is actually just in a bot lobby. She runs on walls, got the vertical of the Hulk, and her gun also hits like a fucking truck. She's shooting out actual live grenades on all these little creatures. Meanwhile, Kafka can't carry his gun. Shit's too heavy without the suit. Well, I mean, he does have the suit, but it's on 0%, so it's basically just cosmetics. So he decides to play as a support. And just look at the talent gap between Kikoru and everyone else. Like, these guys are also pretty good, but just look at the damage they're able to put out compared to hers. At the very most, they're just teasing the kaiju's butthole. Anyway, so Kafka throws out a stun grenade and he tells everyone to aim for the stomach as that's its weak spot. And he knows this because he dissects them on the daily. Also just realized these guys are blinded as fuck, completely burnt their retinas off like looking into the sun. That guy probably thought he died and made it to the afterlife. Yes, I can do this. I don't need to use my weapons. Let's go, senpai. I got you on the next one with the stun grenade. Ankh fucking dies, but luckily Kikoru comes in to save him so he doesn't get disqualified. Now what in heaven's name was Reno doing while Kafka was about to get mauled like a piece of fry? Cause not a single bullet came out of the chamber of his gun. But whatever, so Kafka's leg is broken, and experts suggest he give up cause his body is in some deep serious asshole, but Kafka said nah, I'm gonna lock in. Now I'm no doctor, but pretty sure applying all that pressure on the broken leg to stand back up is most definitely not ideal. But he fought through and he finally stood up and holy shit, bang. 0.01%. Are you fucking shitting in my mouth? Not even 1%. It's not even 0.1%, as a matter of fact, it's 0.01%. That is downright diabolical. At that point, you might as well just respawn. So Kikoru continues farming, getting her KD up, and it's getting a little too easy with guns, so she puts that away and she smacks one of them with her pole. And now for the big one, grenade for distraction. She lands on its mouth and blows it up from the inside out. Fast and quick, just like that, in and out, done. But, just as everyone's praising her for completing the exam, some mushroom head dude appears behind her and puts a hole in her chest. I knew it. First time I watched it, I knew it. She was gonna run into a brick wall. She was dominating a little too hard. She was getting a little bit out of control there. Her kill streak has gone too far. Then, all of a sudden, the dead kaiju started getting back up, heads starting to get scratched. What's going on? Meanwhile, Kikoru is in some serious deep shit. She's getting turned into a block of cheese. Then Mushroom Head rests the big kaiju and it fades away. Luckily, that guy's gone. And the revived kaiju has an estimated fortitude of a whopping 6.4. I have no idea what the fuck that means. But according to Hoshina, this man, only him and Mina could take it down fast. And he's the vice captain, and Mina is the captain. So that thing's a pretty big fat beefy boy. But despite the announcer telling everyone to evacuate, Kikoru is still fighting it. Well, fighting is a strong term, but she's standing her ground. She's not backing down, otherwise others will die. And she believes she has to be perfect, so she has to protect everyone. Then we get a quick flashback, and the reason why she has such high standards for herself is because of her father. He's an asshole. Classic. He's not very present in her life, and when he meets her, this is usually how their interaction goes. Look, Dad, I got the highest score in my school on my test. Yeah? Well, I don't give a shit. You're expected to be the best. You aren't supposed to be happy about these kind of things. You're supposed to be teaching the entire class and replacing your teacher by now. I don't know what you're doing. You're behind schedule. Lock in. Now go over there and start doing your taxes. Yeah, so she got this burden on her, and the situation she's in is pretty god-awful. She's just getting slapped around. Yep, that's a pretty fucked up arm. Her arm's cosplaying a snake. Then the Hanju charges up a hollow purple and throws it at her. But at the very last moment, Kafka TPs in front of her and he ate the entire thing, full blast. So Kikoru's like, oh shit, you're a kaiju. Kaiju number 8. And the energy from Kafka's transformation gets detected by the people inside, but they can't find out what kaiju it is cause all the drones are fried from the explosion. However, she's still able to see the number on the fortitude scale thing, and once she saw 9.8 on her screen, she started shitting bricks. She started shitting like she's not allowed to shit at home. As a matter of fact, the number's so high that once she reports it to Hoshina, Hoshina's like, yeah, no, must be a bug. Otherwise, prepare the nukes. We gotta blow up the entire city. Meanwhile, Kafka is just casually turning his leg into a tripod, and his arm said, wait, hold up, let me pull off some weird shit too. So his elbow opens up into a booster, an elbow rocket, Pacific Rim stuff, and he charges his hand towards the Hanju. The two's fists collide. And you know, the Hanju's able to hold its ground pretty well. It's doing a pretty good job. That is until its flesh starts evaporating from its bones and its entire body explodes to dust. Then Reno somehow also TPs in before any of the captains could arrive at the crime scene and yells at Kafka for transforming cause obviously he's a wanted criminal. Everyone would absolutely immediately jump him if they were to see him like this. Then Kikoru faints before Kafka could explain himself and the two carry her in. Now the captains finally arrive at the scene and they realize something smells a little funny. Cause like, Kikoru's pretty strong, but she's not psychotic strong. And the aftermath is an absolute disaster. So they suspect that something else might have killed the Hanju. And the mess looks really similar to something that had happened 3 months ago. So Kikoru regens her HP at base and lies to Hoshina saying she was the one who killed the kaiju. Then we see Mushroom Head listening to the news about the exam incident in a bathroom. And it can shapeshift, so it pretends to be a part of the cleanup crew, acting like he's the new guy. A bit has passed, exam results came in, and only 27 passed out of all the 200 and something people. Of course, Reno and all the other colorful heads people made it, and of course, obviously, Kafka failed, his stats are absolutely abysmal, he'd have a higher chance of joining without taking the test. But Hoshina stepped up and said he'll take him in since he was giving good comms during the exam, and he's great to laugh at mainly. However, he really took him in because when they saw the 9.8 fortitude kaiju signal, Kafka's vitals stopped coming in. Shit disappeared. Something's up, which is why you want to keep a close eye on him. So they'll start training, everyone's able to unleash higher combat power, they're all improving except for Kafka. That guy's not improving, he's fucking evolving. He went up from 0.01% to now 1 full percent. That is a 9,900% increase right there. That is what we call peak human evolution. That is a Charmander to a Charizard. In human terms, that's a Homo erection to a Homo sapien. Maybe even more. We're talking fish to ChatGPT. Round of applause. Training, running, eating, more training, Kafka taking a fat steamy shit, and then they all suddenly get woken up in the middle of the night for their first mission. Autobots are now rolling out, and something else is also rolling out of Kafka. He puked. So they all made it to the scene, and they're fighting a giant farting mushroom. And this thing can also spawn in an ungodly amount of babies. So that's a massive pain in the ass. But the defense force is not playing around. They're getting their hands dirty. They're giving it to the kaiju. Reno's also touching them with all his freeze rounds. Meanwhile, Kafka's trying his best to be useful on the battlefield. Senpai, he's out here spreading ass cheeks, all 5 fingers down the donut hole, searching for its core, which is basically the kaiju's heart. Once that gets destroyed, kaiju dies. And he found it. So he passed the information over to Hoshina. Hoshina passed it on to the people, so now the people who doesn't have that much firepower know where to aim to kill them. Good comms. Those two in the back most definitely need them. Then we got these guys, showering the Hanju with a bunch of missiles. And thank the Lord we got Mina. Cause if we don't have Mina doing what she's about to do in a few seconds here, we are in some serious ass. Cause the missiles and rockets are goddamn hopeless. They're doing negative damage to the kaiju. Now I know they're just there for support, but goddamn. You're telling me missiles and rockets do absolutely nothing to them. We are in shambles. That is a little worrying. So Mina gets in position and she looks over to Kafka and was like, check this out, buddy. This is where I am. So she activates her suit and she's able to draw out 96% of its power. Also, the voice announcing the percent of power she's unleashing with her suit is pretty hype, pretty cool. First shot comes through. The entire city damn near evaporated. Second shot, inbound. Fire. Somebody might want to check up on that kaiju. Don't think his head is feeling too good. Think he could be dealing with a mild headache. That's all we need to see. Absolute destruction. Third shot, loaded, ready to go. Fire. Now we're just feeling bad for the kaiju. Hanju has been taken down and has stopped moving entirely. Fourth shot, loaded, ready to go. I'm sorry, what? Ready to go. It's dead. At this point, the cleanup crew won't be able to keep their job. Alright, now that Mina has shown her ability, Vice Captain Hoshina also has to step in and give a quick little teaser on what he could pull. And unlike Kafka, it's on his hamstring. He gave his swords one quick stroke, and just like that, the kaiju came, rolling down in pieces. So Hoshina specializes in killing smaller and medium-sized kaiju, unlike Mina, who just blows up big monsters. However, the mission's far from over, it's just getting started. That giant thing had infinite babies inside, and they are swarming the place. So they all start fighting the little babies, and Hoshina hypes up Reno, saying he got a bright future ahead of him since most people usually plateau at around 20 to 30%. But he sees something in Reno. Don't know exactly what he's seeing, but he says, that man will make it happen. Trust. But unfortunately for Reno, he won't be making it that far to see his progress. The two come across Mushroom Head, and turns out it doesn't just shoot out air and create a hole in your body, it fires out some sort of projectile that moves at incredible speed. Iharu, the guy with a drill on his head, begins panicking, and once it goes back to its original form, Reno immediately calls for backup. However, their comms get disrupted. Hopelessness begins to set in. Kikuru couldn't lay a finger on this thing, and she's significantly stronger than the two, so they're cooked. Reno pisses shits as another projectile leaves its finger, but Reno's able to somewhat avoid it, even though a quarter of his thigh is gone. So Mushroom Head's like, what am I doing? Why's my aim looking like a flaccid penis right now? What's going on here? None of the shots are going straight. And that's when it realizes that Reno sees the projectiles, and it's all because Kikuru told him to watch its fingers, and now he's able to dodge it fully. Iharu, get off your ass and go call for backup. Wait a minute, why am I being protected by you? I'm the big dog. I'll go call backup. So now Reno locks in. He got his mask on and everything and is trying his best to buy time. And he's also getting good at dodging. First time he dodged it wasn't some luck, he's actually doing it quite consistently. Okay, but big problem. Why in God's name is he running at him if his objective is to buy time? I feel like we're doing the opposite of what we should be doing here. Then, all of a sudden, Mushroom Head teleports in front of him and... yikes. But at the very last moment, just when all hopes were lost, Iharu jumps in with the "Get down, Mr. President!" saves him. Also, he did not call for backup. So, we're back to square one. He just came back because he said, I'm done running. I'm done being a little bitch. I'm done being saved by others. It's time for me to man the fuck up. So here we are. Dying. But not before an anime duo team up with some music to get our hopes up. Hell yeah. Iharu hits it with a conductor round, and as soon as Mushroom Head recovers, he fingers him, but that boy's locked in. He's done getting fingered, and he stuns it with another shot, creating space for Reno to get into position and fuck its face, which happens to be up close to the kaiju. I'm gonna be honest, Reno's completely griefing. He's running it. This is actually criminal activity right here. You got a gun. You don't gotta be sniffing his feet to use that weapon. You can be far away and shoot it. That's the good part about guns, it's ranged. So Reno emptied his load onto the kaiju, but it used the pile of corpses to absorb all the damage, so it did absolutely nothing. And now he's out of ammo, out of luck, and out of life to live. Then it all starts collapsing, music in the background, gone. Iharu gets knocked over, and he tries to pick up his rifle to save Reno, but the gun's broken. Whatever higher being is out there in the world, it's out to get him. It's making sure that boy Reno does not get to live. But thankfully, the people on the inside realized they lost contact with Reno and Iharu, so they passed that information over to the people on the battlefield. So, Kikoru hears this, and first thing she does, runs up to Kafka and was like, yep, he's here. And back to the tragic side of things, as Iharu's about to get one tap and disappear from the face of this earth, a wild Kaiju number 8 appears. And with one hit, he put that man on zero gravity, had him look at his own body and shit. Very cool stuff. But now imagine this. Imagine you are Iharu, right? Imagine you're in Iharu's pants. You just saw the kaiju that completely obliterated you and your duo with ease get clapped by another kaiju. Don't know about you, but if that was me, there'd be a giant crater in my pants from all the shitting I'd be doing. Now usually Kafka's a pretty goofy guy. Even though the author made him as old as a Game Boy, he's still a high schooler by heart. But after seeing his friend with more holes in his body than a sponge, he had to lock in, no more goofing around. So Mushroom Head gets back up and he goes, oh, so you're Kaiju number 8. It finger blasts Kafka once and that man starts bleeding. Now hold up. For the first time, Kafka doesn't feel invincible. He's not actually Superman, he's actually bleeding now. And Mushroom Head's also going pretty crazy. That guy's spawning in infinite balls with sperm lumps all over it. He's going insane. It's gonna be a close one. This Kafka guy is just unlocking shit on the spot. He is unbeatable. He has a counter to everything. Mushroom Head is flabbergasted. And before he could even react to what just happened, Kafka spawns in its face and hits it with a clean right straight to the solar plexus. And he just beats the shit out of him. But he's not done. You know, he gotta pull out the tripods with the elbow rocket. The final nail in the coffin. A devastating, gut-ripping right hand connects and he sends that guy flying across town. Got him looking like a sad sloppy pizza that fell from a skyscraper. But before he could crush its core, 2 soldiers saw him, so they tell everyone they found Kaiju number 8. And this distracted him, giving time for Mushroom Head to fully recover. Well, not fully, but he recovered quite a lot, and he just fades away like Thanos snapped him away. Gone. So Kafka quickly pops his DIY smoke bomb and makes his escape, and he hides in some shady alley. But he gets caught, and unfortunately for him, it's Vice Captain Hoshina who caught his ass lacking. So Hoshina immediately went straight for the neck. Kafka barely dodges it. The hair on his butt cheeks begins standing. This is a code red. Kafka gets put on the defense. He starts jumping and flipping and cartwheeling to avoid all the slashes, and he finally made his way out the alley. So Hoshina, realizing he didn't land a single hit on number 8, he said, alright, time to lock in, remove the limiter. And he unleashes a combat power of 92%. Kafka begins stressing, cause he can't exactly try to eviscerate the vice captain, so he goes through his options. A giant slash suddenly appeared on his chest. For a second there he thought he was fighting Sukuna, so Kafka said, oh hell no, I am out. He starts running for dear life, but he just can't seem to shake this guy. Hoshina is in his ass like a butt plug, he is up there, deep. And bam, Kafka's core is now visible. And according to Kafka, those slashes are invisible, he couldn't see them, cause he said he dodged it, but clearly he didn't, his arm is missing. But luckily Kafka he used turbo fast, so Hoshina's like damn, this guy's pretty strong. His fortitude is probably at least 8.0, which classifies him as a Daikaiju, which are the big dogs. So he charges up his sword and straight up uses Dismantle. Kafka loses his leg and Hoshina quickly closes the distance and slashes right where his core is located. But nah, Kafka turns a part of his chest into teeth and bites down on the sword. What can this kaiju not do? Jesus Christ, he's adapting to shit like he's Maharaga. What is going on here? So Hoshina's weapon gets stuck and its life flashes right before his eyes, but Kafka only attacked his weapon, and the shockwave propelled him backwards, giving time for Kafka to disappear. So Kafka meets up with Kikuru after the incident and Hoshina regroups with the team. So Mina asks how was the fight, so Hoshina explains how he assumes that number 8 is probably a Dai Kaiju, and it's been over 5 years since they encountered a Dai Kaiju, so it's a rare case. And Hoshina also added how fighting it felt more like fighting a human, and now looking back, it makes total sense. I mean, look at Kafka over here, he got his guard up and everything, like he's about to hit him with the 1-2, like he's about to start boxing the guy. So they report about the Reno and Iharu incident to the captains and explain how the kaiju that attacked them appears to be the same humanoid type that appeared at the exam site. And they gave it the codename Kaiju No. 9. Then we get some chill moments, just the characters interacting, getting shit-faced, and now Kafka also gets promoted to an actual Defense Force officer. Woohoo, very cool. And it's Hoshina who recommended him. Hoshina is just really saving his ass here. And Mina lets him know that she still remembers the promise they made and she's still waiting for him. Then we get Hoshina training for a bit, and it's him just basically reenacting the fight he had with number 8 and finding out what he could have done better to kill it. And right when I thought there's going to be sunshine and rainbows for the next few episodes, this guy comes in. He has a set of teeth outside his original set of teeth. He got 2 layers of teeth, and he is just standing there on his chicken, crossing his arm, in the fucking sky. Okay, this guy just appeared for 10 seconds, said 2 words, and I'm feeling pretty worried for our crew. Intimidation-wise, compared to number 9, it is day and night. The gap is astronomical. Number 9's only intimidating breast milk drinkers. It's not even a competition. The base gets showered with fireballs, and kaijus are all over the place, and each one of them has an estimated fortitude of at least 6.0. And they can also fire out shit that blows shit up. So Hoshina quickly puts on his suit, and unfortunately, Mina's gone. She has a meeting with the other captains about kaiju stuff. So everyone rolls out, and Kafka reports that these birds are usually by themselves, so something freaky is going on for them to be grouped up together like this. And they're most likely being controlled by someone, and of course, it's the big bad red guy. So this guy, he's a very simple kaiju. He doesn't have some big goals trying to take over the world, wipe out humanity or some weird shit. He just wants to turn off his brain, find the strongest living creature, and just start fisting. I'm talking full on butt-ass naked raw dog style. He does not care. He just wants violence. And its estimated fortitude is 8.3, a Dai Kaiju. So immediately it tries to blow up Hoshina with the flick of its finger, and suddenly it appears behind him and punches straight down. But Hoshina is pretty quick. He even saved that guy. And as he's trying to figure out what's going on and finally realizing that the kaijus are here just to mainly destroy their base, which is really weird because kaijus came up with a plan, what the fuck, he gets jump scared by a right hand, damn near losing half of his face. And not only does this guy punch out actual asteroids, its skin is also tougher than number 8. He can cut through it. Meanwhile, everyone else is focusing on tickling the juiced-up pterodactyl. But luckily, Kafka hopped on VC, and he told everyone to aim for the back, cause that's where the skin is the thinnest, and that's also where the core is located. Another case of great comms. This Hibino Kafka guy is pretty goddamn useful. He might not be out there blasting kaiju's ass, but he is doing God's work to their ears. So they all start positioning for a flank. One becomes a decoy while the other gives it a fully unleashed backshot. But it's not gonna be that easy. These kaijus are built different. They're adapting to the counter before the counter could even be used to counter. But that's when Kikuru comes zooming in and instantly breaks through the kaiju's front armor. So a bit back, the captains decided to give Kikuru a custom weapon, cause this year, kaijus are popping up like crazy and they're stronger than ever. So they gave her this huge axe, and she's putting it to good use. Basically just called in a lightning strike on him. Then the third victim comes in. So Kikuru uses the special shockwave attack that comes with her axe and exploded its back through the front. I have no idea what's happening. Don't know how she just did that. Oh wait, so the shockwave probably got sent through the entire body, and since the back is the thinnest, it exploded. Probably. Then another comes through, but it gets hit with Reno's freeze rounds, allowing Kikuru to close the distance, and holy shit, can you believe your eyeballs? Reno learned that guns can be used from afar and he's no longer running in like a bozo. Reno learns from his mistakes. Talk about character development, this show got it all. So Kikuru decapitates the kaiju, Reno gets his assist, amazing stuff. Meanwhile, Hoshina is luring the kaiju into the training ground to avoid collateral damage. The kaiju launches at him and a punch connects. Now even though our boy Hoshina did fully block the blow, it is still pretty god-awful when you're the size of the Kaiju's ankle. It's not gonna leave you unscathed. However, Hoshina did end up taking its arm in the process. That's a pretty good trade. And then the Kaiju gets a massive raging boner after seeing that Hoshina is now going all out. Meanwhile, Kikuru's running around, having fun, killing kaijus, getting her KD up, she's farming, she's having a blast, and backup's also starting to roll in. And these guys are in the absolute worst position you could ever imagine being in when you're fighting mutated birds. It's actually giga ass. You're in a parachute, slowly descending. Once one of them flies at you, it's so over. GG. Do you just cut your parachute, die to fall damage instead? Fuck it, you'll never take me alive strat? Also, people are starting to hop on the freeze round meta. Reno's really changing the game here. So everyone is doing great. Now all they need to do is have Hoshina win the 1v1. And he's doing great. He's slicing through the tiny gaps in the Kaiju's exoskeleton. So the Kaiju quickly seals off the gaps. But nah, that won't save him. Hoshina slices right through him. It was a bait. Going for the gaps was a diversion. So he takes off its other arm and now is slowly turning this guy into Exodia. But he's a kaiju, so he just heals it all back up like it's nothing. However, Hoshina is a little different. That guy's pretty good. So the two went in for round 2. Hoshina is dodging for dear life, and he slices up its arm once again, and this time he turns it into sashimi. And once he saw a glimpse of its core, he instantly nosedives into it and completely annihilates it. He saw that core and he turned into a freak monster. He got rock hard. He was ready to munch it to pieces. He was not lying when he said he'd spank smaller size kaiju. He just put that man in a body bag and shipped him straight to the nearest furnace. Uh-oh. That is top 5 worst statement you could ever say in these kinds of situations. Basically just cursed him and his entire bloodline. So the kaiju transforms itself into balls and it starts getting bigger. Then it lets out steam, and once the transformation is complete, it looks exactly the same, but just significantly bigger. And its fortitude jumped from 8.3 to 9. Now the jump in fortitude is pretty scary stuff. However, the big problem is, this guy's big. And what hard counters Hoshina? Big monsters. Mina's not here. It's a bad matchup. We're fucked. So Hoshina is sweating his ass off just to give it paper cuts. Well, it's a little more than paper cuts, but doesn't make a difference. Anyway, quick trip down the crotch, out the front, bang, infinite pain while shitting. Take that, kaiju, is what he would say if the kaiju did come with a butthole, but it doesn't, so that sucks. But yeah, that's about as much as he can do. I mean, his sword can't exactly slice through this beefy creature. However, giving him a hard counter wasn't enough. They also had to nerf the goat. His suit is now overheating. But wait, these birds have also turned into missiles. Blows him up. So he runs into a building and goes for a sneak attack, aiming for the core. But poop turns to diarrhea and he gets caught. He gets sent flying. He needed an anime flashback to get back up. That's how you know. The Lord did not have mercy on him. The situation just continues to worsen and we get another flashback. And it basically just explains how Hoshina can unleash much combat power with guns. He can only do them with swords, leading to most people rejecting him because nowadays kaijus are getting bigger and swords won't exactly do the job. Until he came across Mina and she accepts him because she can easily deal with the big guys. So now his job is to deal with the little guys. Perfect team up. That's why he's tryharding. He's pulling out all sorts of tricks to try and take down this guy. But it's not doing much, it's only scratching the surface. And eventually, he gets caught once again, in the palm of his hand this time. It's a RIP angle. So seeing this, Kafka said, fuck this shit, I can't let Vice Captain go out like that. So he starts running in, but just as he's about to transform and climax, he edged his transformation, cause he heard a familiar voice on the comms. Mina, Kaiju stick comes flying off. Mina, at the very last moment, came to the rescue with her pet dog. Second shot comes through. Bang. Second arm gone. Now this dog's actually pretty cool. At first I thought he was kinda just here to make Mina look cooler, but then it's actually here to prevent Mina from flying off a building with each shot. Oh wow, into a front flip. That's a bag of treats right there. However, it's not that easy to take down this kaiju. It's still regenerating pretty damn quick, so Hoshina still has to try and limit its mobility with its combat power at only 63%. Well, I say only, but that is still 63 times more than the protagonist of the story. But the damage it's putting out is too little, and the kaiju just heals it all back up. So that's when Kikuru comes in with incredible speed and her enormous axe, just to do absolutely nothing. So they came up with the plan to let Hoshina weaken the shell and Kikuru blast it open. Bang. The kaiju got on its knees, and another one from Mina comes zooming. The core is now exposed. The situation has done a complete 180. The team has come alive. Spotify opened, music blasting. Everyone covers for Mina and blasts the kaiju with everything they got to stop it from regenerating. And there's Kafka, committing assistance fraud. I mean, gotta get those stats up one way or another with that 1%. Gotta do what you gotta do. Meanwhile, Hoshina is still fighting for dear life, making sure Mina can land a clean shot. Bang! Sends him to Kaiju Jesus. Happy music plays and everyone leaves with a smile on their face. But as they looked up, their happiness quickly turned flaccid and they all fell into despair. All the birds have grouped up and formed a massive bomb on the same scale as a nuclear bomb. There's no time to escape. Once it touches the ground, everyone would perish. They'd need something big or something small with big power to punch it to the sky. If only they'd have one of those, then maybe they could live. Kafka? Get your old ass back here, man. There's nothing we can do about it. Oh, damn. Wow. Unk is fast. When did he get so quick? So Kafka turns into a kaiju in front of everyone. He even made like a whole cinematic entrance with it. The big reveal. You know, at first I thought it was going to be way longer before he actually reveals himself and it will be like a continuing problem that keeps nibbling his ass throughout the entire story. But then, 10 episodes in and tits out the bag. That is pretty sick, I can't lie. The hair on the butt cheeks are standing. That's an amazing scene right there. Absolute cinema. The music, the girl going, oh, it's a 9.8 fortitude kaiju. Wait a minute, these numbers. It's kaiju number 8, holy shit, oh fuck. That's actually hype as fuck. Goosebumps all over me. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. Now you might be wondering, wait, how exactly is Kafka supposed to reach the bomb and punch it away if it's in the sky? Well, don't worry, his kaiju number 8. So he said goodbye to his tripod legs and hello, buttholes on my calves. He can fly. So he flies up to the bomb and charges up his right hand and fists it with all his power, bro and plus ultra for this shit. And he sends it straight to the stratosphere. Now the explosion is absolutely horrifying, but at least no one died, even though the base is fully destroyed and Kafka's body is at its limits and he feels like shit. But hey, at least he'll be named Employee of the Month. Never mind. So the old people, the higher ups, find out about this and they're trying to figure out what to do with him. So Isao Shinomiya, Kikuru's father, tells them to bring him in and then they'll decide what to do with him. So they transport him and everyone's there to send him off. Boo, how dare you save people, boo. But no, none of the soldiers there are dumbasses and they don't see him as a threat, and even Mina said she'll do whatever she can to help him and prove that he's human. They all gave him a nice quick 07, but of course, old head over here who knows the least always has the most shit to say. He starts yapping about some shit, no one gives a fuck. A bit has passed and Kikuru comes over to her father saying, Kafka's a human, you should not eliminate this human being. But her father goes, no, look at this x-ray results. That's not a heart, that's a core. He's a kaiju like the one that killed your mother. But Kikuru said nah, he's human. Meanwhile, Kafka continues to get anal swabbed, you know, the classic gathering data, scientist stuff. Then we see the aftermath of the explosion, which is a massive mess. And they gave the red kaiju the codename number 10. And since stronger kaijus are just popping up left and right, they'll be taking the most talented rookies from all divisions and training them in different places. So that of course includes these 4 and Kikuru, Shinomiya. Then Isao, the director general, comes in to meet Kafka. And now Kafka just needs to prove that he's human, and on paper, he should be good. Well, that didn't work, but it was worth a shot. Then Isao crushes a part of his body for a blood sample, so Kafka goes for attempt number 2, saying he's not a kaiju. Now this must have come off as a slur to Isao, cause he instantly dusts off the gauntlets, slides those bad boys on, and got straight to fisting. Left arm, one tapped. And Isao was once called the strongest soldier humanity had ever seen. And his gauntlets and suit were made from Kaiju number 2. And that guy's an absolute beast. It's genetically gifted. It 1 in a million. I was there when he was terrorizing the streets of Shibuya, saw the whole thing. It was a horrifying sight to see. And Isao is also the only one who's able to use this equipment. So he does not fuck around. He fucks. So Kafka is in some deep shit. Cause he also has to prove that he's not a kaiju, so splitting the Director General in half is the last thing he would want to do. So his game plan is to simply run until Isao's suit overheats. But easier said than done, cause this man is out here blowing off limbs like dust on an old textbook. Look at this. Straight right, bang. Left uppercut, bang. I'm pretty sure none of these punches are even connecting. It's just the shock waves from the punches. Another left hand, and now he got Kafka looking like he's closing in on the sun. So Kafka's getting spanked, then a fast right one comes in. He barely dodges it, but Isao quickly pulls back and throws out another destructive straight right. Now quick little side note, how does this man still have a full head of hair at that age? Especially with all the stress and pressure he has to deal with. That's a bigger achievement than being humanity's strongest soldier. But alright, back to Kafka getting his ass beat. So it was at this moment that Kafka realized two things. How OP weapons made from numbered kaijus are, and why he should have worn adult diapers. Cause he's getting the shit beat out of him. So after eating that body shot, Kafka said, oh hell no, I gotta go. That man got his screen pulsing, his HP is in critical condition, he damn near fucking died. But Isao activates his secret no limbs technique. So now Kafka is just a head on a floating torso. And Isao does not stop, he just throws out another right hand. He does not feel pity for this man, or not even a man anymore, I mean he's a floating thing. And now Kafka fully transforms so he can block the punch, otherwise he would just disintegrate. And all of a sudden, he starts tweaking and the kaiju that came inside his mouth flies over to him and tells him to kill the kaiju in front of him. So the thing basically registered Isao as a kaiju, cause that man is too dangerous, he has the strength of a daikaiju. Kafka's essentially fighting number 2. Then Kafka loses control of his body and just charges at him mercilessly. Bro has gone rogue. I love the ending music, but that was a crazy cut. They just pulled the You Are My Special special. Now I did like that scene though, I thought that was pretty cool. Yamete! Hibi no Kafka! Don't kill my father! Nobody got you the way I do. Whatever demons you're fighting through, when you need somebody. Oh shit, sick. Fuck yeah, that's peak right there. That's good transition. But now, let's take a break and have a look at Reno doing some lat pull-downs. Wow. Also, the cracks on the walls aren't done by the kaiju attack, it's actually just Reno's raw strength affecting his surroundings. He's exerting too much force with each pull-down, it's actually collapsing the entire building. Okay, so Kafka's going on the offense now. Operation Turn Isao into a smash patty has been initiated. And damn, look at that dodge. Didn't even move his feet, he just fucking stood there, stood his ground, he just moved his body. Then the kaiju starts getting creative, maybe a little too creative. It does a spin, breaking its own body to throw a 360 right hand. He's going for a trick shot. Now I'm just like, shit's getting crazy. But it did catch him off guard, which is the purpose, so it worked pretty well. I can assure you that man did not expect a 360 self-destructing right hand to fly at him. Now this guy's fighting like an animal, cause he can just keep regenerating. Then he starts beating him like he's beating his meat. But luckily, Isao is able to kick its leg to avoid the big hit and reposition himself. And this kick also flipped the kaiju on its head, allowing him to come back in and counter with a clean right straight to the core. A perfect sequence. However, the kaiju separated the core from the body and used that body as bait, and it regenerates back up behind him through the core. Now this is actually sick, that's creative and actually useful. Then of course we get the anime fist to fist action. Amazing. Now things start getting intense, cause it's basically like two daikaijus having a beatdown, so the stadium begins cracking. I'm sorry, what? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by some damage? Also, how's this guy so nonchalant about it? He's just sitting there like, yep, very soon our guts could be spilling all over the floor. So brace for impact. Lord have mercy on my soul. So he realizes that Isao doesn't have the intent to kill Kafka, cause if he did, he would have just blown him up to 1,000 pieces when he's in human form. Instead, he's just pushing number 8 to test him. So Isao's not an asshole. Amazing. However, the test is getting a little too far. It's getting a little out of control, as number 8 is getting a little too strong and is also getting bigger, somehow. So Isao continues fighting, but the instant regeneration is too damn broken. That shit's OP. So Isao is fighting a losing battle. And eventually he gets grabbed, slammed to the wall, and he's not feeling so good. So Kafka's like, oh man, I'm really about to kill Kikuru's father right in front of her. That's pretty fucked up. He repeatedly slams him to the ground, and Isao is just done with life. I mean, he doesn't even look like he's sad or in pain, he's just sitting there like Santa didn't come in with the presents. But before number 8 could deliver the final blow, Kafka channels his anime willpower, and with the help of Mina, he regains control of his body and punches a hole through his own chest. Absolute cinema. So Kafka collapses and he returns to his human form. Then this guy appears. Gen Narumi, the 1st Division captain. And this guy's goated and he's cool as hell. But that's not actually him though. I don't know who that is. That's some dude cosplaying. But this is what he looks like in the manga. Yep, pretty sick. And this is also him in season 2. Cool stuff. He's about to pull off some cool things. Alright, so Isao tells the medic to rescue Kafka, and before he decides what to do with him, he wants to hear what Mina has to say about him. So Mina goes through the script saying Kafka's a good guy, double thumbs up, he saved the entire 3rd Division from being wiped out completely. But unfortunately for Mina, she's going up against 2 fucking rage baiters. Well no, the entire room is actually full of rage baiters. A bunch of grown-ass men, by the way, so it's a tough position to win. And so what? So we're arguing with 4th graders. Amazing. And so it means he's not a bad kaiju. He's on your side. Not exactly rocket science here. Next one. That was only possible because he used his kaiju power. Well, yeah, no shit. How do you even make it this far in life with that brain in your head? What even is that argument? Point is, he's on your side. He's using the kaiju power for good. How does that matter? Okay, but if you say, it's wrong to use that kind of power, then what does the defense force use to fight against kaijus? Suits and weapons made from kaijus. That's also kaiju's power. You're wearing kaiju's flesh. So if we're going with that statement, then you all should fight without your suits. Just go out there, t-shirt, shorts, baseball bat. That's the same shit. Those powers are from the kaiju, you fucking old fuck. But Mina will not yield. She explains that ever since she knew Kafka as a child, he's always been a great guy who cares more about others than anyone else. And look at this freaky ass guy, by the way. Might want to run a background check on him. He's definitely done some heinous shit. So Mina leaves, and luckily Isao said Kafka will not be converted into weaponry and he'll fight for them, cause he believes number 8 can be controlled, so he doesn't want to get rid of him. Yes, I know, but I'm sure you all remembered what happened 10 years ago when number 6 attacked us. We lost hundreds of officers and also 3 captains. Yes, how did I forget? Thanks, dickhead. How about you as your wife? Probably getting dicked by some dude with a full head of hair. So Kafka woke back up in the hospital, alive, with a big scar on his chest, and Isao's there to let him know about the good news. He won't be executed. Woohoo! Mina gets the news and she sends a message to the entire team about it. Everyone gets excited, starts doing cartwheels, tap dancing, all those fun stuff. They're all just really happy. But while all this is happening, number 9 is still out there plotting his big, bad, evil plan. He's farming knowledge about the human race by grinding chess on 18 different monitors, 18 different matches. He's a sweat. You just know his balls are slimy. And he's getting pretty smart. Dude's at the top of the leaderboard. Also, he's not trying to hide his identity at all. His name is just out there, number 9. Like, it's a pretty vague name, but personally, I would have named myself like number 10, 11, or Jonathan, you know, just kind of drag the attention away. Because this could attract some unnecessary attention. So, after going berserk and damn near turning Isao into a donut, Kafka would get these nightmares of him annihilating the defense force. And, of course, even in his dreams, he's still unlocking new shit. He's blasting a laser beam out of his mouth. So Kafka is still confined while his friends are in different places to train. Also, this is sick. Kikuru got emojis of herself. Anyway, so Kikuru gets to join the 1st Division, and the 1st Division is completely stacked. They got the goats. And Kikuru meets up with the 1st Division captain, and no, it's not the giant who looks like he eats kaijus for breakfast, it's Narumi, Gen Narumi. He is the strongest soldier in Japan, currently. Yeah, it's cooked. The country's going down. Narumi's a professional basement dweller. Delivery boxes, foods, and empty cans scattered all over the place. And he's a hardcore gamer. And the worst part is, he's not even good at the game he's playing. Bro's out here chugging 18 cans of Red Bull, doing 3 lines of coke, sacrificing sleep and eyeballs, fighting for his life. Just to get to plat. I don't even know what game he's playing, But that cannot be good. That is horrendous activity going on. So Kikuru's like, GG, I'm not gonna learn shit. I'm actually gonna be here. I'll start training and I'll actually become worse. Then they get an alert for a kaiju attack, so Narumi gets summoned and he also brings Kikoru with him. So everyone in the first division gets in position to take down the kaiju, missiles are being launched, tanks are being summoned, and yep, Godzilla's doing cameos now. Amazing timeline we're living in. So everyone's working together, blasting Godzilla and forcing it to the neutralization point. And then they deploy Narumi. Shinomiya Kikuru. Manners, cleanliness, hard work. I won't ask any of that from you. What? You didn't finish your sentence! Anyway, so he pulls out his weapon from his box, stabs down on the kaiju, and he presses a button on his weapon, and all of a sudden, the kaiju begins to puff up like it swallowed 1,000,000 bees. And bang. R.I.P. Godzilla. That's all the money they had for his screen time. I wouldn't even imagine cleaning all this up. Kafka got lucky, he's not working there anymore, otherwise, he'll be cleaning this shit till he grows old, bald, and forgets his own name. So Kafka gets summoned to the director's office, and Isao's moving him to the first division. So the strongest kaiju in history is going to be teaming up with the strongest anti-kaiju force. Then all of a sudden, the city starts collapsing, creating a massive hole. Now at this point, how does anyone still live in Japan? A few hours ago, fucking Godzilla pulled up, took out a bridge, and now a part of the city just said, "Aight, I'm head out. See ya." Gone. Shit is worse than cockballs torture. Being a homeowner in Japan has to be the worst thing possible. It's like owning a sandcastle. Shit could just disappear at any moment. Anyway, so ants start coming out of the hole. The entire city is infested by ants. So the first division are rolling out to protect the city. They even got Kenjaku on the team. That guy's retired from Jujutsu his Kaisen and is now killing kaijus apparently. Then as this ant's about to eat these two kids, Narumi arrives in time and saves the two. Now on the surface, you'd think Narumi just wants clout. You know, have the kid post, "Narumi's cool" 10 times in a row. But he said, "Use your mom's phone." Now it gets deep. He's definitely trying to track down the kid's mother and fuck her. But that's just my theory though, let me know about yours. Meanwhile, everyone else got their area under control fast and quick, so Narumi tells Kafka and Kikuru to go crazy as soon as they're done evacuating the civilians. So they'll start guiding the ants to the neutralization zone, so Kikuru gets ready, she pulls out her axe, stands there menacingly for a bit, and an ant comes flying, and she follows it up with another slash. Also made sure to spin her axe, left hand, right hand, behind, perfect. And another one comes in, and she did not hold back on this guy. She swung at it like it insulted her mother, like she was trying to split the earth in half. So she teams up with Shinonome, one of the platoon leaders, and she's pretty badass. She's carrying around a whole ass minigun. So the two clear up the area pretty quickly, and Narumi gets rage baited by the vice captain. Then he realizes something fishy is going on, cause ant types never show up on the surface. So the kaijus are being weird, similar to the pigeon attack at Tachikawa base. Alright, so the ants have made their way to Kafka's location, so he flies in with his partial transformation, fisted it, did negative damage, and he moves back. What was that? What did I just see? Is he trying to turn the ant on by rubbing his fist on it? What's going on here? So Kafka's basically traumatized. He's afraid if he were to fully transform again, he would go berserk again. Also, I swear to God, Isao's an absolute tank to survive this, by the way, cause my God, does this scene look violent. Unk is kissing concrete after concrete. He's getting slammed and tossed around like an action figure in the palm of a toddler's hand. But anyway, Kafka can't hesitate, so he goes for a full transformation, and the team locks in. They all made sure his vitals are stable, but transformation failed. He's having a Bruce Banner moment, Lord save us. And then they detect a new powerful kaiju appearing directly under number 8, and it's none other than number 9. So it pops up and was like, what the fuck, I've been scammed. I came here to see the shit, but I'm only seeing the fart. Where's number 8? So it attacks Kafka with its signature fingerball, and now it's bad, cause Kafka's getting fingered and he really needs to transform. But nope, attempt number 2 is also a failure. Kaiju No Want Come Out. Not happening. It's not coming. It refuses to come. So now he's sweating like he's getting a colonoscopy. So Narumi's like, everyone calm the fuck down. Hold your horses. I'm on my way. I'll be there. We can't lose number 8 cause this guy's too OP. But he gets interrupted by another kaiju, and it's another number 9. So turns out Kafka isn't the only guy that can pull shit out of his asshole, because this guy straight up spawned in his twin. He said, fuck it, we need more power to fight them. Alright, let me just pull this little guy out of my pocket real quick and bam. There he is. Then it uses a rise and all the dead kaijus get back up stronger and the entire situation starts going south. Meanwhile, Kafka's getting his cheeks clapped. Number 9's trying to kill him and take his kaiju power. And Number 9 summons its barrage of cum balls about to take him out. If you watch carefully and look behind Number 9 right before Kikuru slices him up, you could see her flying right there, like a single frame of her just jumping. Or like 2 frames of her just jumping. Whee! But anyway, Kikuru finally gets a rematch after getting turned into a block of cheese a few episodes back. Meanwhile, the other Number 9 tries to blast Narumi to oblivion with its semen spheres, but obviously Narumi's built different, he easily dodges them, and he comes zooming down with his sword flying to the kaiju's forehead. Now Isao could also deploy himself onto the battlefield to increase their win rate, but he said nah, these kids gotta lock in cause I'm done carrying, my back's hurting. So we get this massive Kikuru-Kafka team up, crazy hype, and by team up I mean Kikuru basically fighting for her life while Kafka edges himself with his transformation. Now the two have no idea why his transformation is failing, so Kikuru thinks Number 9 is putting a lid on Kafka, not letting him climax. So Kikuru came up with the plan that she's going to go in and fuck up Number 9's butthole and force it to go into repair mode, and by doing that, it should disable its ability on Kafka. So the two surround Number 9 trying to go for its blind spot, but Number 9 said, what blind spot? And dude just spawns in another head and starts blasting them. Oh damn, Unk's going at it. Oh, sure. Alright, wrap it up. We're gonna need father and daughter team up instead. Isao and Kikuru will kill this guy. Kafka, we'll put him on the bench for now. He's missing a few hours of sleep. He'll be back better though, trust. Kikuru's chilling though. She's slicing up these balls. Boom, bottom left, bang, top right, boom. But then Number 9 goes off script. She didn't see it coming. Can't block it. However, that's not gonna stop her. She immediately went into her next move and sliced up all the balls. And then we get a Kikuru flashback, and that is her mother. Don't believe me? Here's proof. She's a captain and she uses the weapon made from Number 4. So we get some wholesome moments of Kikuru and her mother, and surprisingly, Isao is still as locked in as ever. I thought he was going to be a more laid back guy until his wife died, but no. He's just perma locked in, won't even catch him smiling. And more wholesome moments of Kikuru and her mother, and then it cuts to white and she's gone. She died while fighting Number 6. So Kikuru said, I gotta become the strongest and save everyone. And as she's about to go in and land a clean hit on the kaiju, the ant gets freaky and she loses her footing. But that is just an opening for Kafka to shine, so he comes in with a crazy right kick across the ant's face. Boom. Oh fuck. That is not a good trade, I can't lie. The kick didn't even scratch the ant, it just budged it a little. But luckily, Kikoru was able to use this opening and hook the kaiju's neck with her axe and pulls a spinjutsu, slicing it to bits and pieces. So now Kafka can fully transform without getting cucked. But once again, he fails. And the reason it keeps failing is because he's afraid of losing control and accidentally killing all his friends. You know, he's not trying to regain his body and next thing you know, he's looking like Yuji in Shibuya. So now the people on the inside are stressed. So Narumi's like, don't worry, I'll be there after I take out this guy. And he's completely gliding on the battlefield. And then he goes all out. And he's able to unleash 98% of his power. So he moves in and slices off the ant's arm. And his weapon also burns as it cuts, making it harder for it to regenerate. So Number 9 moves back to avoid the slashes. But Narumi also has a gun. He got that 2-in-1 deluxe combo. He grabbed the United States of America and the United Kingdom and fused that bitch, forming a destructive weapon. So Number 9 obviously goes into a panic attack and just spams his balls. Now look at this Narumi guy with his smooth moves, blocks the projectile with his weapon, starts sliding, fires out a counter shot while all this is happening and leans back to dodge at the same time. Look at this majestic ass frame. Might as well enhance that shit, Jarvis. Bam. However, Number 9's low-key Maharaga, it's adapting as the fight goes on and is now able to dodge his shots, and it catches Narumi off guard. It surrounds him with its sperm spheres and bam, blows up the place. So the people on the inside are like, damn, we might be getting fucked sideways at this rate. This guy's constantly getting better every single time he comes back. But Narumi slaps them across the face and says, "I'm not dead just yet, buddy. My suit has warmed up and he's ready to start busting some ass." Number 9's water broke. Retina 01 is another weapon of Narumi's. It's the oldest numbers weapon created from Kaiju No. 1's retinas, and basically it allows him to see the future. He's able to see the signals that appear within the brain, allowing him to know what that person is going to do before they do it. Also, number 1 looks like an absolute menace. How did I even beat this thing when it can read your movements and possess turbo regeneration? That is downright diabolical to fight. That is just a rough generation to be born into. Anyway, so number 9's no longer adapting because he can't adapt into the future, so he's just getting hit like a piñata. The Narumi jumps up to avoid its blow, and he can also see where the core is located. So Narumi knows exactly where to hit, but it doesn't matter because he just completely slices it up into pieces anyway. Meanwhile, over at Kafka's POV, oh shit, yeah no, it's getting dicked. And Kikuru's weapon also gave out and it snapped. Wow, Jesus Christ, that is a fuck ton of blood coming out of him. That is downright unholy. He just painted the road with his DNA. That is like summoning the devil levels of blood. So after Kikuru finds out that he's afraid of killing his friends if he were to go berserk again, which is why he can't fully transform, she goes, "Don't worry about that. Everyone and I will make sure to kill you and dismember you and set you ablaze publicly if that would happen." So after hearing those comforting words from her, Kafka finally lets loose and he fully completes his transformation. He has full trust in his friends to fucking murder him. So Kikuru will deal with the little ants while Kafka fights the raid boss. So number 9's ant spawned in wings and is talking about how he figured out a way to kill Kafka, but Kafka basically just told him to shut the fuck up and straight up ran through the ant and took its core. Also, I want to point out, number 9's a yapper, dude. Dude's a yapper Jew. He just keeps talking and talking throughout the entire fight. And it's not like anyone's talking to him either. He's just saying shit. But anyway, so Kafka smashes the core, but he still has to destroy number 9's core, the actual one. So it's not over. And the weapon that number 9 said can be used to kill him did not do a single thing. Kafka just stood there unfazed and repelled them with his punches. So after having his body taken over, he realizes he's been using his powers like an absolute toddler. There's so much more he could be doing with it. So he runs up a building, and no more calf boosters. Instead, he's using the glory hole heal. Then he flies up, starts doing a couple flips here and there, and we get this sick ass frame of Kafka doing tricks on an invisible skateboard. Amazing stuff. So he now has better control of his body, and he flies back down like he's Superman and throws out a right hand. He straight up erased that dude from existence. We're talking turned him into baby powder. He just disappeared. Yep, make sure the camera's rolling. Go around the corner for me. Perfect. Now zoom in and get that nice close-up shot in 4K. And cut! Perfect. We got the shot. Alright, so both targets are down. Everyone starts celebrating. Now all they have to do is deal with the little guys, which are getting blasted by Kikuru. Now that is one majestic ass way to rip someone's head off. Also, the damage done to the city is unbelievably minimal, despite them fighting 2 identified kaijus. So this division is out here doing God's work, exactly how Isao wanted it to be. And he gives them a nice good job. Kikuru starts to tear up from happiness. Amazing stuff, wholesome moment. But then an alarm goes off. And number 9 continues to yap even at death's door. And basically he says, "You guys got baited. This wasn't the main goal. I'm not even here." So Kafka tells Narumi that the ones they killed aren't the main body, and the main body has infiltrated their base by disguising itself as one of the dudes working there, and its actual goal is to get to Isao and Kaiju number 2. So Narumi, Kafka, and Kikuru quickly rush back to the base, and Isao tells everyone to quit pissing themselves and evacuate. Then the kaiju charges up its ball, and that is not a good color to see if you're the people in that room. Cause now that is a threatening looking ball. That is no ordinary normal sperm ball. We should be avoiding that at all cost. And this time, one of its balls blows up the entire place. This guy damn near met God. He was right there at the gates of heaven, but Isao pulled him back down. Now I don't know exactly where Isao grabbed the box from. Does he just secretly hide it in between his butt cheeks or something? But anyway, Isao tells these two to take everyone out cause he knows it's after number 2's power. And now it's time. He slides those gloves on, going in for the 1v1. Now what kind of hard mutating drugs did this guy take? it just quadrupled in size. So it turns out it simply shed its skin, and it is no longer just a long-range ranger firing out Kaiju's testicles at them. It's now throwing hands. So the two fist each other, and it is getting crazy. Number 9's fortitude is reported to be 8.5, so Isao right now should be able to deal with it. Oh shit, got his back against the floor. Oh man, it is so over, it's not even funny. Title of the episode, the man called Isao Shinomiya, first few minutes in, first blow comes through and his left arm just exploded. He has been marked for death. Lord, please save him. The number 9 slams him with a right hand, but Isao's fighting back. He's not gonna go out in a one-sided fight. And Narumi's out here sprinting like he's Sonic, trying to make his way there as fast as possible. Also, I refuse to believe Kafka didn't make it there yet. Can't that guy jump like 20,000 feet and he could also just straight up fly? Anyway, so everyone evacuated aside from Isao and this man. He tells Isao to also run and wait for others to arrive, but he says no, it's no use, cause number 9 can just track him. So he says then he's also not leaving. He's always looked up to Isao and he'll stay to assist him as long as he needs. He's a real one. Also, his job is to help with how the weapon functions and stuff, so he's not just sitting there cheering him on like, yeah, kick his ass, woo! So Isao goes into full power, and using a kaiju weapon at full strength takes years off the wielder's life, but the buffs it gives him basically just transforms him into a human-formed Daikaiju. However, even then, that is still not enough to fight this guy. Now respect Isao, he's the GOAT, but man, he gotta lock in and start dodging. He gotta stop taking these blows head on. So then Isao goes in and lands a clean body shot, and he does a 360 swinging his right hand all the way from the Big Bang, took a page out of number 8's book, and hits it with a 360 right hook. Spun its jaw to the other side. Face caved in, could barely see out of its left eye. But the force from the impact doesn't just stop there. Its eyes just fly off, and so did its entire head. But guess what? This motherfucker does not die. And you heard the sound Isao made when this guy spoke to him? Not good. We're cooked. So it just continues fighting without a head. And this man does something with the weapon stuff, not sure what he's doing, but he's assisting, trying to help Isao while his ass is being bombarded with punches. And number 9's left hand breaks through his defense, sends him flying into a building. And that's when Isao realizes that this guy's strong, but most importantly, he's grown weak. He's just not that guy anymore. And he says, quote, "There's no trace of the strength I had when I stood by your side." Now this is crazy, so you're telling me the current Isao is nowhere near his prime. Are you slapping my balls? That is insane. Was he just sneezing kaijus to the Shadow Realm back in the day? Then the kaiju lands another clean hit onto his stomach, reducing the power's output by 5%. So Kurusu, this guy, just got his name, tries to recover it back up, but there's no time. He can't fix it fast enough. And look at this shit! Look how far away they are! I know for a fact Kafka is faster than that. Did he make a pit stop at the gas station to let out a fat shit? What is he doing? He should be like 30 seconds away, max. Anyway, so Isao tells Kurusu to use every remaining circuit to go on the offense, cause there's no point defending anymore, otherwise he'll just keep taking damage, they'll keep losing power, and eventually they'll run out of damage to hurt the kaiju. And he begins forcing number 2's muscles into his left arm so he can use it again, even if it's just for a little bit. So Kurusu tells him that if he does that, there's no going back, he won't be able to fight again. So Isao goes, "Oh fuck that, fuck fighting again, I don't even know if I'm going to live again." So he says, it's fine. Besides, the defense force already got some crazy strong soldiers. And look at that, he even included Kafka and Kikuru, so he accepts Kafka as a part of the defense force now. So Isao's ready to sacrifice himself to take down number 9, just like what his wife did with number 6. Are you fucking kidding me? At least let the man finish his speech, oh my good god. It sent him straight into a flashback. He didn't have any defense either. We're in shambles land. So we see little Kikuru, and once her parents learned that she wanted to join the defense force, Isao's wife Hikari said she'll train her and push her to the fullest, so his job is to spoil her to the max. And then Isao grabs number 9's arm and tosses it away, cause he still hasn't done anything for his daughter, so at the very least, he's going to eliminate number 9 so his daughter can live in a safer world. And boom, he lands a clean hit to the body. He's using number 2's main burst, an extremely powerful move that took out an entire city, but it is extremely taxing on the human body, so he can't survive if this continues. Now the core is fully exposed, but number 9's changing its form, going into full defense. However, Isao's not done, and he blasted a second time with his left hand. Also, Kafka's 100% reported. I have literally seen his ass fly like he's fucking Iron Man before, and now of all times, he decides he wants to get in his steps. So the smoke fades and Isao is still standing there, but so is number 9. However, he is looking like a scarecrow, so Isao can easily blast its core. But he's unconscious. He ran out of juice at the very last step. Now goddammit, is there not a single soldier around with a gun to just snipe its core? Where's Gabi when we need her? So Isao at the very end gets swallowed up. And there we go. Kafka and Narumi arrive just in time to see the sunset. So they see Isao just standing there, and Kafka immediately senses that that is not Isao, and he quickly pushes Narumi away to avoid its attack. And now it's rough, cause number 9 has gotten way stronger after fusing with Isao and number 2. It's scaling to infinity, and Kikuru comes in from above and starts shooting at it, but of course, it did absolutely nothing. And Narumi comes in from below, slashes its body, and he starts dropping a full combo on his ass. But number 9 just fucking stood there like it's a mannequin, like it's a statue, and just looked at him. Then we learn that Isao actually planned on retiring after putting together the Avengers, which he did. He formed the strongest unit, and he'll leave it up to Narumi to protect the nation. But they just had to go ahead and assassinate the man right before he could retire and support his daughter. Praying for Kikuru. So Narumi will definitely kill this guy for Isao. But then this piece of shit goes, yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna go now. I can't move this body very well just yet. Isao's not responding well to the fusion, yet turns out he doesn't like his body being taken over. So yeah, bye-bye. So obviously Narumi said, fuck no, you're not leaving, you're not flying, you're not walking, you're not going anywhere, buddy. And he slams him back to the ground. However, if number 9 just focuses on its defense, then his attacks are useless. They can't go through it, not enough damage. So that's when the heavy hitter Kafka comes in and fisted. But this guy just straight up grabs his fist. Now it's truly cooked. Cause if Kafka can't do damage to this guy, then who's gonna kill him? Who can even hit him? And keep in mind, this is also with the help of Isao fighting from the inside, refusing to fuse and fucking up its body. And the episode just ends on a cliffhanger. 07, RIP Isao, he was truly the GOAT. He was doing God's work out there. He was really blasting number 9's asshole. I mean, he was doing some nice stuff. Also, shout out Kurusu. That man's a real one. He really stuck with Isao all the way into the end. Amazing guy. But the only reason he lost was because number 9's the bitch, and mainly because Kafka decided to run. You know, I think he's holding a little grudge on Isao when he was shooting him with that pistol earlier. But anyway, that's it.